Made headlines in the Sunday newspapers this week. We start off with the Sunday World, and they lead with a very interesting headline on the front page there of the Sunday World, where there's seemingly a spat brewing between Fikile Mbalula as well as Mdu Manana. Mdu Manana is a former deputy minister in previous term who was summarily dismissed from cabinet or had to resign from cabinet following public controversy. But his function within the ANC, Mdu Manana, that is, has been to play a role of branch management verification in the secretariat of the ANC. That is to say, assisting Fikile Mbalula in his role. Well, it turns out that there were complaints in the ANC about Mdu Manana fiddling with the branch verification processes where branches had to meet, and he was doing that seemingly, as far as Mbalula's idea is concerned, for his own political ambitions and not in the way that it should have been done. Mbalula then removed Mdu Manana from that process. Mdu Manana then said that, or at least seems to have now been at loggerheads with Mbalula. Mbalula had recently addressed the ANC Youth League at their National General Convention, where he was booed by ANC Youth League members, and Mbalula now believes that Mdu Manana is behind the orchestration of having the ANC Youth League members boo him in retaliation to Mbalula having removed him from the process of branch verifications for the secretariat of the ANC. It's a very interesting story that speaks to the race towards the succession of the ANC's top seven, what has now become its top seven. Of course, Mbalula says that Mdu Manana seemingly has the ambitions of replacing him as the Secretary General of the ANC. Now, that's what the Sunday World is dealing with. Let's move on over to the Sunday Times, that has a explosive a headline there around Ramaphosa in the departure lounge on the margins there, on the right margin of the Sunday Times. Interestingly here is that there is a conversation seemingly brewing amongst Ramaphosa supporters and loyalists that his time might be up in the ANC following those controversial statements that he made over the weekend, or at least early this week rather, not over the weekend, early this week, to the ANC branch members who were, ANC councillors rather, who were gathering and convening for the ANC councillors roll call event that took place at the FNB Stadium. And that, of course, is controversial for the reasons that made headlines this entire week, and that is that he had been, of course, criticizing harshly and unduly so ANC councillors, many argue, but more specifically seemingly condoning the Democratic Alliance and giving them the sort of support that they don't deserve at this stage. Let's take a look at what's happening in the Sunday Tribune. And they, of course, are tagging on from what took place at the commission this past week, where there was a mention of the presidency and Richards Bay Minerals, of course, having perhaps potentially interfered with the work of the police there. This article and headline and front page paints a picture of political interference from the private sector following a spate of murders that took place in the Richards Bay Minerals area, but more specifically in the broader Richards Bay community, because other companies parenthetical to Richards Bay Minerals had also suffered equal violence. One such company is Fosco, for instance, a phosphate production plant in the Richards Bay area, owned majority shareholder there seemingly being the IDC. And of course, there's a mention of the parent company of the Richards Bay Minerals, which is Rio Tinto. And of course, recent stories in the past weeks shows signs that Rio Tinto might want to dissolve its shareholding in the business, given the economic climate in South Africa. Richards Bay Mineral being a legacy company in Richards Bay, of course, holding strong the legacy of BEE ownership within the mining sector in South Africa. And so that's a story that I think will grow legs. The company RBM has come forward saying that they want to appear before the commission to clear their name after the specific claim that Mkwanazi had made was that the RMB company had put pressure on the presidency, and the presidency had then requested for a special team to be sent to RBM for the specific protection of RBM. Mkwanazi, of course, impugned that action. It's in and of itself. And that became a point of controversy between the province and the national administration of the police. That is what is in your Sunday papers at this hour. And of course, go back into the Sunday Times. There's a big article there in the Sunday Times, I think on page 6, around how the Democratic Alliance might be going through a reshuffle. John Steenhuisen, according to the Sunday Times, considering a reshuffle of his cabinet members following the axing of Andrew Whitfield. It has been months since Andrew Whitfield has been removed from the executive by President Ramaphosa, yet the Democratic Alliance has not yet submitted a replacement name to the president. The article claims that John Steenhuisen is applying his mind as to who to serve in cabinet at the behest of him as the Democratic Alliance leader, attempting to consolidate support heading up to the Federal Congress of the Democratic Alliance, where John Steenhuisen hopes to be re-elected as the leader of the party. Big article that could potentially lead to a cabinet reshuffle in the coming weeks. That's what's in your Sunday papers. And of course, you can get those in stores right now.